Hello, Mike here, April 19th, 2026. Sharing a video with you, just demonstrating a few different things that I do on rollers. This is a 24-inch. Today we're doing the lumbar pelvic hip complex, torso and lateral lines, left and right. Spiral lines are in there, and of course, we're always hitting all the other main fascial meridians and interconnected kinetic chains. So what I do on these rollers is I try to work kinetic chains, interconnected tissue. And what you're seeing here, pelvic, because I had lost, back in 2022, I had, well, if you saw me, you'd think I was dying. I had lost that much tissue in my pelvic and area, around the entire pelvic area. And my legs look too small for my body. So I had a big time physical med problem, and I had to figure things out and how to mitigate and how to reverse the damage, what it was going to take to do that, and to do that yet understand what was causing the damage. So when you understand what the cause is, then you can work on trying to deal with it. My body has the fascial system has sensory problems. Sensors don't release or contract normally. In other words, the sensors are not working properly on my muscles, so that they tend to, if they contract, they don't release. Or so muscle inhibition is when your muscle cannot contract and release normally. Maybe it's part of an interconnected chain that's super tight, and it can't do anything but be in a tight state. Big problem. When you have one muscle group versus the other, one muscle group should be relaxing while the other contracts, but if both are in a contraction state, you've got a problem. And then when muscles are overused, and they're and being overused because there's a problem, not because I'm overusing them, like doing too many arm curls or something, something like that. Muscle inhibition is a big problem. So to combat that problem, after I've been up and around and everything is tightened and is super tight, and many muscles in the pelvic region are just not released and they're super tight. So what you got to do is you got to get off at number one. You got to be horizontal and massaging them. Again, the roller is perfect for that. Elongating them, getting the tissue maybe to contract. In other words, like right here, I'm pulling my behind up a little bit, just a little. I'm not using not much force, but I'm just using it as a proprioceptive tool, so to speak, and letting the muscles do their work. But I'm really, just ever so slightly helping them in the right direction and feeling them actually contract and release. Okay, so you're getting it by moving it. You're getting good blood flow, good oxygen flow, nutrient flow, and then by staying off, by being horizontal, the pressure and stress is off, and your body can relax. All right, so you got to go through a process of relaxing the body, getting blood and oxygen and nutrients to muscles that are distressed, and then you exercise those muscles as well and try to strengthen them. Everything in my pelvic region was so weak, incredibly weak, and my legs had grown really small. I mean, they were like looking in a mirror, they were too small for my body, okay? And they were very, very weak. My lateral lines, once they were so strong, and they were almost like almost non-existent. They really lost so much, and you could see it in the photos. Hardcore. I got a video of it. It's in the playlist. It's clinical evidence of myofascial disease. It's so many videos, but the older videos, 21, 22, 23 in that ballpark, you can see the damage. Hardcore. It's remarkable. Very, very notable. Especially the lateral lines, which were the most obvious. So, I've had success. I have an ass again. My legs don't look like they're too small for my body. They don't look like overly super tight because I'm following a treatment plan. I have limitations, and I've learned from years of trying to negotiate and feel like, oh, well, I'm just going to push it. I'm just going to go do this, and then what year after year you get leveled over and over again, and then you learn that you have to accept your limitations, and that the limitations are part of the treatment plan. You have to. Okay. So now as the body strengthens, you're going to, and I have better functionality. My life is improved. Okay. The problem is it's a physical med problem. It's still a physics problem. My body only has so many hours a day that it could remain active in an upright, standing, or sitting position. Bottom line. And it's not while I'm doing it, especially now that I have really good functionality compared to, let's say, a year ago, 2 years ago, especially 5 years ago. Oh my God, it was a disaster. But the functionality, you can have a good time doing things for a few hours, but it's always what happens later. And that's a sign of a myofascial connective tissue problem. If anybody's been in sports, they know that they've probably experienced having an injury. I remember one wrestling practice, I twisted my ankle, okay, or something like that. And, hey, it was fine. And then you go home and, I always went to bed early during the season, like 8:15, 8:30 a.m. was late. And then you wake up the next morning and you almost fall down when you try to get out of bed. You can't even put your weight on that foot. So it's a very similar thing. It's what happens later as everything starts to tighten up and as your body responds to what the activity was that you had been doing. And that might have been just standing and just being up and around and doing all kinds of whatever, just odds and ends around the house, you know what it's like. Or it could have been, a couple hours in the garden, or it could have been cutting the lawn and edging and using a blower. If I do that, I pay a big price. So I've learned, you can cut the lawn, but you can't use the blower and the weed whacker. Okay, on the same day, that is. So or you could just, do a lawn a third at a time, basically. And weed whack maybe once a month. Edge, that is. So, and every year I try it. I go, okay, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to cut the whole thing. It's a duplex corner lot. And, I'm going to, just do the whole job. We're going to find out what happens. And, year after year, I keep trying the same things because I want to see if my physical therapy is having an effect. And sure enough, There are things that I do much better, and I'm really thrilled. And there's other things where, well, it's still not. Um, I'm going to pay a big price, you know, and I'm going to have to mitigate that. So, you know, you might spend a couple hours in the afternoon on the mat, a couple hours at night. You wake up, let's say you go to bed at 9 a.m., 9 p.m., and you wake up, it's 2 or 2:30. You're like, oh, well. You're up for a couple hours, you're going to, you're on the mat again. Then you go back to bed, get another hour or two. You got your 7 hours. You get up, and believe it or not, you're in a pretty good state because you've gone through 3 sessions, and that's what it takes. I started out in the mat in 2022 wearing 2 coats. They weren't heavy duty, hardcore winter coats. They were light to medium. One did go down below the hip. So and I wore them because my body couldn't tolerate laying on a mat on a floor with a carpet like this. I was just in such bad shape. And that's why I tell people, get on the floor, and they look at you like you're crazy, like, oh, I can't do that. And I did it. And it started out maybe 15 minutes a day, then a half hour, and all I would do is just roll like a baby. You roll to your stomach, you roll over to your back, you roll back over to your stomach. The TV's on, you lift your head up to see what's going on, so it's strengthening your back, your neck, your back line, all the things that went totally weak. Okay? And over time, you get a little better at it, you get a little better. It's not as uncomfortable. And now, look, I do things, I spend hours on this, on the floor here, on the mat, every week. About 30 hours I'm on the floor, actually doing something. And I have no choice but to be on the floor because I have to be horizontal. So I cannot be up and around all day. Can't do it. I can't live the life of a normal person. I'm homebound, and I struggle actually just doing the typical things that you would do around the home. Cut the lawn, maybe have a little garden, different little things that you got to do. Shopping at food shopping every, you go out and run a few errands every, first of the month or the third, whatever. Very, very, I have a very difficult time. So, this has helped me so much. It's unlimited, the different things that you can do on the floor with a roller. And the rollers are an extension of the floor. So years ago, when I was a martial art practitioner, I didn't even use mats. I was on a oak floor at home. I would do my shit on an oak floor, okay? Yeah. Concrete even. Yeah, that hits the back of the hip, the pelvic area in the back, and it goes right to your right to the back side, where it's like in the back side of the shoulder. That line that connects, because you got tissue that connects back there, and it goes all the way down to your pelvic, right? So you're working both ends and the tissue that's interconnected. and you're pulling on it, and you're moving it around, and you're getting it to you know, it's like a power assist. You're getting it to contract and release in a way. I mean, you're contracting it and then you're expanding it. So fascia training is something that you would do for myofascial disease, but I can't exercise standing up. Can't do it for a length of time. I would love to be able to do bar work, you know, using maybe a kitchen counter or a windowsill or something. But I used to love bar work years ago, but I can't do that standing up. I got to do all my stuff where my body is in a different state, it's in a different tension state, and you can actually feel it when you've been up and around and your body needs to lay down. And you lay down, you can feel your body actually shift into a different state. You can actually feel it occur. I have a lot of sensation, like no pain, sensation. So when you see me wincing and this, it's sensation. And today, with this video, sensation was really mild because I didn't do anything the day before as far as a lot of activities, and I have been doing rest, mitigation, rollers. So after, you know, a whole day of doing nothing and whatever, and then here I am. It's not that much of a drama video, you know, where I'm really having a lot of interesting reactions. But anyways, thanks for watching and have a good day. Take care.